Telltale Games knocked us on our butts and broke our hearts with The Walking Dead Season 1. They're back with the Season 2.
Confess something.
Yeah.
I never really fell hard in love the way that Ben and Jose did with Walking Dead Season 1. Got into it a little bit, but I always felt a little outside the experience, admired the writing and the voice acting.
You've never been a big adventure game fan, though,
No,
to begin
I do
with.
like sexual adventures I like.
Yeah, you like
Regular
adventures in real life.
But this is sort of like Empire,
Yeah.
in the sense that they drop her down the deepest, darkest hole that
Oh,
Telltale
man.
can figure out. Clementine, she's still alive, still doing well. Let's see if we can keep her alive through the entirety of Season 2.
That is the game, right?
This thing goes to places that I don't think any video game has ever gone to before.
So atrocious and dark and devastating, and it just feels like, oh, that can't get worse, and then it gets worse. She just gets hammered. There's all kinds of hell that happens to her.
You also know that Telltale feels like they have to over-deliver. Lots
do.
of pressure
Yeah.
on this team to give gamers more of what they got from Season 1, but also to raise the stakes a little bit. It does feel like it lapses into some artificial territory now and then, because it is, right from the start, relentless. It doesn't have any of those ponderous getting-to-know-you scenes that I think Season 1 had.
Well, there's
all
so much
over the
shorthand
place.
with this whole thing now, with the TV show and the comics, and they had the interstitial Walking Dead video game stuff in there. We know the deal, all right? The people are worse than the zombies.
People
The
are terrible.
The zombies are a known threat. They're always going to be there, but the way these survivors deal with each other is really the atrocious thing, and some are less worse than others, but everybody is dealing with the worst of the worst, and they are not their best, and so they do some horrendous stuff.
Over here.
That being said, I couldn't stop playing it. It was totally riveting, and I stayed up way past my bedtime playing this thing. It's not...
Stayed up to 9:30.
Yeah, it's not overly long, but it was just harrowing, and it was well executed.
But that said, like, being told where to click on the screen feels a little antiquated, a little outdated. It's not very satisfying. There is this sense that you're being led through this experience by the nose. It does feel like the beats of the game have become a little overly familiar. You get a little scene where you're talking to another character, you do your dialogue tree, then zombies attack or humans attack. You do a couple of quick time events, and you have another scene where you're meeting new characters. You answer some questions.
Now, though.
I never feel satisfied by the action itself. I do feel like I'm just swiping sideways, I'm swiping down, I'm tapping here, I'm tapping as fast as I can. That keeps me on the outside of the entire experience, because I just feel like I'm knocking on this fish tank, wishing that I could swim with the fishes.
I'll tell you
That's
another
my
thing
metaphor.
that's happened as
love
well.
that.
That's a good metaphor, but I'll tell you another thing that's happened. We're in a post-Last of Us world, and Last of Us delivered on a lot of the same emotional touchstones.
But you could control
And
Ellie.
you can do anything you want.
Control
wanted in that
Joel.
game.
You
Yeah.
could go anywhere you wanted
That's
to.
what I'm saying, though. It's still an amazing game, and I think it's worth playing if you were a fan of the original, and I think it's still some of the best produced adventure gaming you can find on the market.
the writing and the voice acting and the acting in general is as good as almost anything you can find on television.
Also,
I mean,
just
it's
caring
superb.
about characters in games is important, and
We
this
don't do
is
that enough.
and we need to keep going in that direction.
I think you got to play it.
I am thrilled to have Season 2 in my hands.
I'm not thrilled.
What are you giving it?
My score reflects me not being that thrilled. It's a 7.
I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.